Alright, YouTube. Jeff Lindsay back in the shop today, Friday, day after Thanksgiving. And we have come down and finished that piece. Got some initial grinding done, smoothed out a little bit. And we only like just a little section there coming on down, right in there mainly. And we decided to go ahead and prep this piece. I took Russ's advice at Double R. Sprayed epoxy down in there as good as I could. We're going to wait for that to dry, cure off, flash off. And we went ahead and made a piece. There it is. We went ahead and made a new piece. That's going to be that exterior patch. And we flanged it. And we're going to let it go up under. I don't know if you can see that flanged area right there. We're going to let it go under the quarter. I've got some holes drilled for spot welds. And once we attach that good and tight, we'll come back and weld it out throughout, weld it all the way down. And then we'll come back in these areas here and drill the other piece that's got to go onto this one so we can attach here. We'll drill this piece out in a few areas all the way down to where that brace underneath stops. And that'll pull down and attach back like that, and hopefully that other piece is going to work out good right in that area. A few little tricky angles. Hopefully it's going to work out good. We'll know in just a short little while, and I'll bring you back. Alright, YouTube, we'll try to bring you along for a little bit of the ride. We got our piece put in, and we're just going along, welding and cooling. And we'll just do a little of that, and we'll keep going. Just filling in these spots, pull them off as we go. We'll come back and grind it all down. I'm sure it's stuff everybody's seen before. about an inch to go on this piece and we'll be done with it. I'll wrap up that piece. We'll clean it up, and when I get some more, I'll bring you on back. Alright, YouTube, I know that welding and cooling is probably a little boring, but just wanted to show you what it looks like after we get through and before we get started cleaning it up. We had a few spot welds there just to attach the panel. We used a couple of screws to pull it up snug, and we just tried to overlap each weld, each spot weld, by about 1/3 to 1/2, and that seems to work out pretty good. So that's where we're at. That's what we're working on today, and when we get a little more progress, we'll bring you along. Hopefully we're going to get this side today and maybe the other side tomorrow, and we can get started on something different. Bring it back. Alright, YouTube, back at it. Got everything in and welded in, and pretty happy with it. I know that's a lot of work for a quarter panel that should have probably been replaced, but hey, I'm learning as I go, and don't mind doing it. So that really sturdied things up, welding the package tray extension back up underneath and tying all this back in, tying the quarter back in, really stiffened it back up. And we probably got an hour, or if not more, of grinding on these welds, and we're going to get started on that. And not a lot of interesting stuff going on, but it is what it is. We're just having to work away at it. And like I say, our plan is to hopefully get this side completely finished today, and we'll get on the other side. And that looks a sight better than what I cut out of that. If you take a look, that's what came out. It was a really bad shape, and again, you could see, Russ, I know you had some issues around your wheel well areas where people were coming in there just patching over rust. This actually had rivets in it where somebody had come in, looks like with a piece of galvanized, and tried to make a piece of a window channel there, all the way up. I mean, this whole piece right here has been scabbed up underneath and riveted and then welded, I guess, in a few places. But we're in a lot better shape than we were. We're real happy with the way it turned out. We're hoping that that all our geometry, dimensions, there's a lot going on right here in this little area. The bends, the 90s, which isn't quite a 90, it's more of probably a 80, and then the curve, and then joining back up with this piece, and then making this piece under here come out right. It all looks pretty good. It looks pretty similar to what's going on over there. Tried to keep everything. There was a couple of pieces missing in there, and made it a little hard. We just kind of had to guess at it. But we took measurements of what we knew, which was 3/4 of an inch, and kind of went with that to finish out in a place or two. And this kind of does the same thing over there with this 3/4 lip going over this. I'm not sure, Russ, if your 72 kind of look the same way. I don't know. I may be off a little bit, but like I say, hopefully the main thing is when we get it all cleaned up, the windshield fits, and the trunk deck, same thing. So we'll get back at it. But we're going to get back at it here pretty quick. Going to take a little dinner break. And come back out and start grinding. Looks like we're going to have to turn a fan or our air conditioner on or something. I don't know what's going on in South Georgia, but man, it's hot. Gnats are flying. Good gracious. All right, YouTube. Excuse me. I don't know how many hours we've got in this, but it was more than one on grinding out those welds. Definitely more than an hour. And got that patch in, it's pretty secure. A few little places here and there I need to go back over. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with that. Like I say, there's a few little tricky spots there, but that's what we ended up with. And then that piece there, we're going to go over that with some short strand fiberglass right quick, and I'll bring you back. Alright, YouTube, that is the repair, and it is in short strand fiberglass in those few little low spots. Turned out pretty good. Test fit the windshield and it's a go. So all my measurements and all my efforts to replace this piece are not in vain. Maybe that's showing up good, but it really turned out what I think is pretty nice. A lot of sheet metal work there, a lot of fabrication in that, and I like it. So we are 1 for 1 on our plan. Plan was to get that done as close to finish as we want to go there for now, which is in that fiberglass. And we've got a couple more days left. We're going to tackle that side. Probably won't do much videoing, as it'll be the same, pretty much the same thing, just the opposite side. I will bring you along when we get started in there on the package tray. Hopefully, maybe that side's not going to be quite as bad as this one. I don't think there'll be as much to replace. But we'll tackle that tomorrow and Sunday, and we'll get back on it.